Just gonna test this angle really quickly. Really nice day out here. The smoke has just started to go away. And if you didn't know this about Chiang Mai, every year around January and February they burn the rice fields, which really not too far away. But what you can't tell from this video, unless I can do a pretty good job, is that Chiang Mai is in a valley. There's mountains everywhere I look. Nothing super tall, but they're tall enough to keep the smoke in. So for those first few months out of the year, it gets really smoky. So we're on a lucky day where the rain just came through, and I'd say maybe like 80 or 90% of the smoke just went away, and it's a beautiful day. There's a mountain called Doi Suthep. It's over in that direction, and I'm gonna grab some more clips of that. But yeah, all the smoke is gone. You can see the mountain. It's beautiful. Anyways, yeah, I'm Michael. I'm a digital entrepreneur. My wife and I just left San Diego, beautiful sunny San Diego, to come to Chiang Mai in Thailand, up in northern Thailand. And of all the places in Thailand, this is by far my favorite place. Not just because I have some heritage out here as well, but because outside of Bangkok being a really busy city to be in, outside of the south with all of those beautiful paradise type islands, James Bond Island, Phuket, this place is unique. We're in the middle of a valley, in the middle of the jungle. This beautiful little city comes out of the ground. This is Chiang Mai. It's the new city, but in the center of it there's this old city, old walls, and it's just beautiful. The pace of life here is a lot slower than a place like Bangkok. A lot less touristy, and you get to see a lot of authentic northern Thai people. The food is different, the language is different, and it really is a beautiful place. There's so much to it that I love. Brought my wife out here in October, and she fell in love with it. So yeah, we moved from San Diego. We're both online entrepreneurs and decided to just make the leap. We sold everything we had. We sold our cars, we sold our TV, sold my PlayStation. I'm an avid kayak fisherman. We sold that too, which that was pretty difficult. A lot of these things that we didn't realize we had some sentimental value behind, we had to sell it. So it was definitely not the easiest process. It's not the most glamorous process either. One of the lucky things about being a US citizen is that you can come to Thailand without a visa for 30 days. And you can extend that, you can do border runs, but difficulty is without a long-term visa, you can't stay here forever. But there's options to that, and we're gonna be pursuing those. Long-term visas, education visas. You can come out here, learn Thai, learn Muay Thai, or you could become a citizen, which, because I'm half Thai, I'm able to become a citizen, and I'm working on that process right now. And that'll enable us to own property, start businesses, do all sorts of really cool things out here in Thailand that I'm just so blessed to have that opportunity. So anyways, what it actually takes to move overseas. I know that it's a dream to travel the world and see some really neat things. There's so much adventure in this world that even if you had an entire lifetime of traveling around the world, you wouldn't be able to capture it all, but we can at least try. And that was one of our goals, is to try and do our best to put as much life in these years as possible while we're still relatively young. So we've decided to uproot everything and move. Just a few years ago, my wife and I, we both quit our jobs, both quit our careers. I have 2 master's degrees, my wife has 1, and we just put a stop to all of that. There were not jobs that we really enjoyed. They weren't having us utilize our education to the fullest. It wasn't, it was definitely as if it was holding us back. We both started our own online businesses. It worked. And after a while, we were realizing there's not actually anything that's keeping us in the United States outside of, family or friends. Outside of that, we were always talking about traveling to Thailand. It's been, 7 years marriage, 2 years dating. So, that's 9 years that we've been talking about this. And I told my wife, I went to school out here in Southeast Asia. up until college, I've already lived in 4 countries. And the entire time, it was just based around living in Asia. So I always knew that I wanted to go back. And if I ever had kids, they would go through international schools just like I did. And she knew that. And we've talked about it for so long, and we finally just pulled the trigger. I brought her out here last October. She fell in love with it, and we picked a date. We booked the tickets, one-way tickets. I remember we were sitting in a coffee shop in Norway when we finally booked these one-way tickets, and it was nerve-wracking. This whole process, definitely way out of our comfort zone, but we did it. So we're out here. We finally made it. This is probably week 3 in Thailand, and man, it couldn't have been a better time. We just ended the smoky season. The sun's out. Soon it's going to be rainy season, which personally is my favorite. I get to see a lot of different aspects of the wildlife out here. Able to see all the plants start growing, turning green. There's a lot less tourists in this wet season, and yeah, Asia kind of wakes up. I think it does. So outside of that, outside of this whole difficult process of selling everything and moving, no plans to return, to be completely honest. There's so much out here. What the biggest difference is, and I've gone through this since I was a kid. I was a third culture kid, as they would say. There's a big aspect of culture shock that comes with being an international kid. You kind of are separated from all of the things that are happening in the United States. All of everything that's not part of social media, at least, you're not really exposed to. You have a different internet, different TV, different news. Even all the ads that you see on social media, they're going to be different because we're not in the same place. So you enter an entirely different world. You enter a place where most people don't actually speak English, and you have to find unique ways to go past that. Because even if you do learn Thai, to be honest, it's an extremely difficult language, and it could take years for you to really have a conversation. And when I was a kid, I was relatively fluent. I could hold conversations, but I had never practiced it. So it's going to take years for me to bring that back to where it used to be. But if you don't have any basis or background in any of these languages, whether it's Thailand or you choose to move to Indonesia or Malaysia, which are also really popular, if you don't have a background in the language, that's going to be very difficult. But fortunately, a lot of the communication that they have out here is based on body language. So generally, you can convey your message or understand what they're saying based through body language, and that's something that you really have to get a grasp on once you move out here. Besides that, daily necessities. So at home, things that you take for granted, things like your favorite toiletries, home equipment, shoes, for example, shoes. So I'm a size 13. I love outdoors. I love hiking. But unfortunately, I've actually been on the search right now for some high ankle hiking boots, and nowhere can I find size 12 and a half, size 13. And hiking boots have to run in larger sizes, so I can't just opt for a size 12. So that's a little bit of a journey. You can get stuff shipped, but customs is definitely very difficult. It's not like you can order something, get it delivered in 2 days, 1 day, same day, like you can in America. So besides that, I love meat, I love steak, I love ribeyes. Just went to the supermarket, and unfortunately, you might find some Australian cuts of ribeye. They're going to be about this thin. I like my steaks thicker. Really passionate about meat and the things that I eat, and it was kind of difficult to find that. However, one cut of meat that isn't very popular in the United States, it's picanha. I was able to actually find some picanha, and that was amazing. So with all of this said, it's not like there's anything that's lacking out here. It's just things that are different. And it's the little things that you kind of have to get used to. And I remember going through this process so many times as a kid, getting used to all these new things in the United States that I couldn't get in Thailand, and all the things in the United States that I really wanted, but I couldn't get it because I wasn't in Thailand. And I went through this process, I believe it was 11 times before I went to college. So even though I am used to these things growing up, it's still a challenge. But fortunately, one of the cool things about being out here is the novelty of everything. So if it's your first time going through this, there really is a huge novelty factor in all of these new things that you'll actually never get tired of it. As long as you have an open mind, you will be finding something new every single day. And it's almost like, I remember when I had my last puppy, which that was another thing that we had to give away in this whole process, is giving away our dog to a good family. But I remember when we were raising him, one of the trainers was telling us, in those first couple years, the goal should be show your dog something new every day. Show them, a different smell. Take them out, give them a different type of food, show them a new place. Do something like that every day to expand your dog's understanding of the world around it, because unfortunately our dogs are holed up in a house every day, and if you keep them there when they're growing up, they get scared, they get nervous, they get easily frightened by things that are unfamiliar to them. And that's how you prevent this fear that it manifests itself in barking, or they won't eat after something happens that is new or unique to them, because they're just nervous and fearful. And the way that you do that is always expose yourself to new things. So fortunately out here, this is the place to do that, where every single day can be filled with something new. And even if you're working full-time, like both of us work full-time, we're still constantly exposing ourselves to these new things. It's incredible. So I'm starting a YouTube. The goal of this channel, and as you can tell, it's called No Fear Nomad. I'm going to be looking for things that would be frightening or out of people's comfort zones, introduce this to them so that when they finally do take the leap, move overseas, this could be something that they can look forward to versus something that is shocking or they just aren't familiar with it. I have a lot of plans this year, a lot of countries. My goal is 10 countries this year. Outside of the United States, I've hit 2. I have a lot more countries to go. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this. This is my very first time talking into a camera, so hopefully I did a good job. But over time, as I get better, I'm gonna do the very best I can to show you some really cool stuff. And yeah, every turn is gonna be more exciting than the last. And Thailand is such a great place because if I want to fly to Malaysia, which is one of the goals that I have in the upcoming few weeks, it's only, I think the ticket was $90 to go to another country. I can fly to the south of Thailand for, I think, $37. Like, that's incredible. So in the United States, I can't even find flights this cheap. So yeah, stay tuned. Please subscribe. This is an adventure for me and for you, and hopefully I can motivate some people to travel. All right.